I like heroes who weren't shot in the ear. JD Vance is a joke of a human being. In the past, he compared Trump to Hitler. He said women should stay in violent marriages for the kids.
And I love women more than I love anything.
He said Alex Jones is a reputable broadcaster.
Sandy Hook, it's got inside job written all over it. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. People just instinctively know that there's a lot of fraud going on.
And he said he believed the woman who said Trump assaulted her.
It was a real shock when all of a sudden his hands were all over me.
This woman is not a show-off. She's just telling what happened so we can know it.
Yeah, and it's sort of, it makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding.
But hey, it's not like the end of the world, right? Right?
The former president's pick, and it is JD Vance, the 39-year-old freshman senator from the state of Ohio.
Vance went from just being a shitty writer to a Republican chump.
But you said you'd certainly be open to it if he did offer it to you. Considering that, does it give you any pause whatsoever about taking that job when you see how he treated his last vice president?
I'm hearing reports that Pence caved. I'm telling you, if Pence caved, we're going to drag through the street.
And in the minutes after a Republican took a shot at Trump with an AR-15, an assault rifle that Republicans defend daily despite it killing dozens of children since Sandy Hook, Vance then blamed the shooting on Biden. You see, JD Vance is actually very similar to Trump in that they both act tough, but they're both little bitches. I mean, you heard Trump right after the shooting worrying about his shoes. Who talks like that?
We're clear! We're clear! Come on. Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir. Hold on in your head.
Trump wanted his shoes back because they had 2-inch lifts that made him look taller.
And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
And Vance, on the other hand, had to ask Trump if it was okay if he could have a beard.
The word is that you won't pick J.D. Vance because of his facial hair.
Look, the Republican Party has turned into one huge snowflake, crying and bitching about the very environment that they created. If a Republican were to jump off a 20-story building, when he hit the ground, he'd blame gravity.
America first. We need to support law enforcement.
I mean, Republicans never stop showing you who they are.
Why isn't there a requirement that there be a school safety officer, that there be somebody, a good guy with a gun?
We should have a law enforcement officer at every school to be a shield.
The most effective tool for keeping kids safe is armed law enforcement on the campus.
Make sure that we have armed security agents there, at least one, for every elementary school in the entire country.
We can potentially arm and prepare and train teachers and other administrators.
Retired military, retired law enforcement, outside the perimeter of every school in the country. I don't know any other way to keep kids safe.
That 20-year-old who shot at Trump with an AR-15, well, this week at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they're auctioning off an AR-15. You can't make that shit up. While Vance tweeted, "God bless the victims," Trump took time off his busy schedule before the convention to visit the families of those killed at his rally. I'm f***ing with you. He went and played golf.
Ding, 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 pshin, boom.
In fact, everything about that shooting points not to Trump's strength, but his sociopathic, narcissistic state of mind. After the shooting, when no one knew how many shooters were there, the Secret Service did their best to get him off the stage.
Get ready. You ready?
Because it was also their lives who were in danger. But Tiny Fingers yelled, "Where are my shoes?" Donnie Diapers is short and fat, and he wanted to milk that moment no matter who else was hurt. And while Biden foolishly suspended his campaign, Trump used the shooting by a Republican to fundraise.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
Republicans love to talk tough, but it's a charade. Here's Trump.
I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will.
Here's JD Vance. The bullet that missed Trump's head was shot by the kind of young man who has made the U.S. the mass shooting capital of the world.
The FBI tracks mass shootings where 4 or more people are killed. Looking back over time, you can see that the number of these events and the fatalities have risen dramatically. And this decade is on track to follow that trend. So what is happening? But one undeniable fact is that there are more civilian-owned guns per person here in the U.S. than anywhere else in the world. In fact, when you break down the number of firearms in the U.S., it comes down to more than 1 gun per person.
Let's have a hearing on how gun control proposals are making people more vulnerable to violent crime.
That kid couldn't buy a beer, but he could purchase an AR-15. Now we average 1.5 mass shootings a day. And what do Republicans say?
Why does this only happen in your country? I really think that's what many people around the world they cannot fathom. Why only in America? Why is this American exceptionalism so awful?
You know, I'm sorry you think American exceptionalism is awful.
It's not ironic in the least that an AR-15 almost took Trump's head off any more than Trump's VP pick is a low-life hack who will say and do anything for power.
Worried are you that there could be violence emerging from all of this by Trump supporters?
Oh, not at all. Donald Trump's supporters are not violent people.
Fuck these Democrats!
Trump trolls America's red country with violent, racist missives towards people of color, LGBT, Muslims, and anyone who doesn't align themselves with the GOP's Christian nationalism.
If you don't like our religion, then we don't want you in our country.
Now Vance is aligning himself with a man whom he believes sexually assaults women, and he compared to Hitler.
That is crazy!
What does that tell you about JD Vance? You see, the Republican Party is the trickle-down party, and no one knows more how bullshit that economic principle is than the Republicans, the very crew that fertilizes America's idiot Republican base.
I love the poorly educated.
But Vance has joined Trump in a whole new arena. Trump's Project 2025 isn't a campaign promise. It's a dark and violent agenda against anyone who isn't willing to swear allegiance to Donnie Where Are My Shoes Trump.
I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption.
And for the record, if this surprises you, where the hell have you been? Trump has been sowing the seeds of violence for a long time. Remember when he suggested the only way to stop Hillary was to use the Second Amendment?
Hillary wants to essentially abolish the Second Amendment. By the way, and if she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know.
But, and I think this is a good thing, Trump's fist pump after the shooting isn't going to sway independents. To them and to any person with a thimble full of gray matter knows the U.S. is like a pair of white pants, and Trump is like a bout of diarrhea. And as they hear about Tiny Finger's dangerous embrace of Project 2025, they too will awaken to the dystopian prospect of Trump and this soulless, ballless JD Vance. I think I speak for a lot of Americans when I say the shooting is a wake-up call. Maybe not for the Republican Party, but for every American who's weary of the orange drama queen. Man, I just want to get an alert on my phone and think, oh, my kid must need a ride home, and not that Mike Flynn is stealing ballot boxes.
Very fine people on both sides.
Really, Donnie? Well, let me think about that.
Who's with me?
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
This isn't their Republican Party anymore.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, right.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.